It has been just over a year and a half since my bicep surgery, and obviously if you've followed me on social media you'll know that I documented my recovery process. The whole idea being other people that have had the same injury can watch my videos and gain some insight into what my recovery was like. And I'm pretty sure that when I made the last video I said that will likely be my last video on the whole series because there's not that much more to update. Unfortunately, that isn't the case, and there have been some complications. So, long story short, a lump that I felt on my incision site, I've always assumed was just scar tissue. When I googled it, loads of people said that they had similar, and with massage it dissipated over time. Unfortunately, mine hasn't done that, and it's become more prominent. So, I'll show you. The camera autofocus might flicker, so you can see the lump there. So I phoned my hospital and said I need to book in to see the surgeon. I'm concerned about this. They made me an appointment. I went in, I thought was my surgeon, but it was another doctor. And he literally prodded it around a bit and went, I've got no idea what that is, I'm afraid. So he then booked me in for an MRI, and I saw my surgeon today with the MRI results. Now I'm going to show you some of the MRI results, but I'll quickly talk you through them. So long story short, there is a stress fracture for reasons unknown. I'll show that in a sec. And the bulge is fluid that for whatever reason has escaped, come to the surface, and then presents in what looks like a cyst. So what I'll do is I'll show you the MRI results now and then talk you through it so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so what you're looking at here, ignore the cursor, that's the surgeon's cursor on his screen. So bone here, bone here. Now this big black thing in the middle is the anchor. So that's what anchors the tendon to the bone. This just there, that tiny black thing, that is a stress fracture. And that's a stress fracture for reasons unknown. He asked if I'd fallen down, had any accidents, anything like that, and there is nothing to my recollection. So all of this is looking pretty normal. However, if I then go on to the next one, now what you'll see here, all of this white stuff is fluid. Now, in other MRI images, because obviously there's a longer series of them, this white fluid area goes up and up. And then what you have up here in some of the images is a visible bulge where the fluid has built up. So for whatever reason, the fluid has escaped and then builds up towards the surface into what looks like visibly, what looks like a cyst. So it's just a kind of almost like a golf ball shape there. So those are the MRI images. Now the surgeon said, I'll give you the good and the bad. First things first, he did say this arm is noticeably smaller than that one. So everyone that's argued with me saying it's all in my head, note that down. The good news is that the lump isn't sinister. It's nothing severe, which they were worried about. It's just fluid. The bad news is it is uncommon. And because it's uncommon, there is no, this is the procedure we're going to do. Now their fear is if they operate and they get rid of the lump, does the lump come back? They don't know. He is going to talk to his colleagues and consult on this, because if the lump is definitely going to come back, there's no point in doing the surgery. They are operating for operating's sake. If there's a 50-50 chance that the lump may come back, then it's likely to be worth the risk for me because, I'm vain as fuck. So he's basically consulting with his colleagues, and he's going to get back to me and invite me in for a chat. Now, lots of people have said to me it's not that noticeable until I point it out. And I feel a little bit pathetic about it because it is pretty small, and by most people's standards it's not a big deal. But for me, so much is built around my image that irrespective of how the rest of me looks, whether it's good, bad or indifferent, this is a thing I'm thinking about all the time. Every time I'm wearing t-shirts, I'm thinking about this. Are people looking at this? Is it noticeable? That type of thing. And it's kind of embarrassing because I honestly think that in a way it's pathetically vain. But we're in an industry where my kind of level of vanity has increased over time. So, it is what it is. So, fingers crossed they're going to be able to operate, and fingers crossed the lump will stay away, because I don't want this on my arm for the rest of my life. But when I hear from them, I can update you and make another video. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope it's been interesting.